There was a time you didn't question who you were, a time before the world told you who to become, before you bent yourself to fit the mold of approval, before you began collecting masks to wear, roles to play, and rules to follow. Do you remember it? That primal silence, that electric hum of aliveness within you, before language shaped you, before success and failure had names? Most don't. And that's not your fault. You were born radiant, whole, powerful, attuned. But the world teaches forgetting. From the first moment you entered this realm, the conditioning began. You were labeled, named, compared, rewarded for compliance, corrected for curiosity. Slowly, subtly, the external world began replacing your internal compass. You learned to seek outside for what was once generated from within: validation, love, purpose, safety. In this quiet trade, a fracture occurred, not just emotional, energetic, spiritual. You began living out there, disconnected from the life force in here. But here's the truth no one told you. What was lost was never destroyed. Your original essence, the pure awareness before identity, is still alive, buried beneath the noise, beneath the pain, beneath the personality. It's waiting for you, whispering in your moments of stillness, calling to you in dreams, déjà vu, and longing. The ancients called this loss the Great Forgetting. In ancient Egypt, this forgetting was symbolized by the amnesia of the soul crossing into the material plane. In Vedic traditions, it was known as Maya, the illusion that blinds the soul to its divine nature. In Greece, the river Lethe caused souls to forget their origin before reincarnation. All civilizations knew waking life is a trance, and if you're not careful, you'll confuse the trance for truth. You were never meant to live numb, never meant to compress your cosmic nature into a resume, an outfit, a social media persona. The world is addicted to appearances, but you are here for essence. Maybe that's why you feel empty after chasing what they said would fulfill you. Maybe that's why even your victories feel hollow, your dreams faint echoes instead of thunderclaps, because what they trained you to want wasn't aligned with what you came here to be. There's a deep fatigue that settles in when you live a life that isn't yours. It doesn't matter how successful you appear if you're still spiritually starving. You can accumulate all the accolades in the world, but without alignment, they're just shiny distractions. Can you feel it? That subtle ache? That sense that there must be more? There is, but it's not found by doing more. It's remembered by undoing. You don't become your true self. You remember it. And that's what alchemy is really about. Not turning lead into gold, but returning to the original gold that was always there, buried in the lead of false beliefs. Spiritual alchemy begins with destruction. It must, because until you question what you've accepted, you can't access what's been hidden. Until you stop believing the lie that you are your past, your trauma, your bank account, your appearance, you will keep trying to upgrade the mask instead of removing it. So the first step is simple but terrifying. Pause. Pause the scroll. Pause the hustle. Pause the autopilot. Let silence enter. Let discomfort arise. Let truth whisper in the cracks. Because silence is sacred. It's the womb of awakening. And in that sacred pause, you begin to see clearly. You were never disconnected. You were only distracted. All the signs were always there. The synchronicities, the gut feelings, the sudden tears, the dreams that lingered. The people who mirrored your wounds, the patterns that repeated, the flashes of knowing you couldn't explain. They weren't random. They were breadcrumbs. Your soul has been speaking. You just forgot its language. Now, you remember. And that remembrance breaks something open. A question emerges, not from the intellect, but from the bones. Who were you before the world told you who to be? Not your job, not your trauma, not your personality. You. That is the secret question of all alchemists. They don't seek to escape the world. They seek to master it from within, by mastering themselves. Not through force, but through frequency. Not through control, but through clarity. You've spent so long adjusting to survive in a distorted world, you forgot what it feels like to resonate with truth. But the soul never forgets, and now neither will you. This is the beginning of your return, a sacred homecoming, not to a location, to a vibration. Now that you've begun to remember, something ancient stirs within you. Not a thought, not an idea, a force. The Inner Alchemist. You may not have known its name, but you felt its presence. In the stillness between two breaths, in the moment right before sleep when your defenses fade and your soul speaks. In the rising heat of inspiration, when you glimpse who you truly are and what you came here to do. It's been there all along, dormant, but not absent. This force, what the ancient mystery schools called the sacred inner fire, is the true technology of your being. It is not modern, it is eternal. And for thousands of years it was guarded, hidden, passed down in symbols, chants, temples, and rituals from Egypt to India, from Greece to the desert temples of Sumeria. You see, alchemy was never about chemistry. That was the cloak. The real alchemists weren't transforming metals, they were transforming consciousness. To the outside world, they appeared obsessed with turning lead into gold. But within the coded manuscripts and cryptic diagrams lay a different pursuit, turning fear into wisdom, turning pain into power, turning forgetfulness into full presence. Their laboratories were internal, their furnaces were the soul, their gold was essence, and so is yours. But for this transformation to occur, a spark must be ignited. And that spark is awareness. Most live on the surface of their lives, repeating thoughts, seeking approval, mimicking desires that aren't truly their own. But once you become aware of the observer behind the noise, you shift into a different dimension of existence. You awaken the alchemist. This is not metaphor, it's mechanism. In Hermetic philosophy, they called it as above, so below, as within, so without. In Vedic texts, it is the Atman, the spark of divine within the individual. In Kabbalah, the Ein Sof pours itself into creation, and the mystic's task is to climb back up the ladder. All of these teachings point to one truth. The outer world is a mirror of the inner, which means the key to changing anything out there is learning to work with what's in here. But how? How does the alchemist begin? By understanding that consciousness is not passive. It is generative, it is creative, and most importantly, it is magnetic. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. Not what you say you believe, but what your frequency communicates to the invisible field around you. You've likely felt this without knowing what it was. Ever noticed how certain people light up a room without saying a word? How others drain the air just by entering it? That's not charisma. That's charge, the vibrational signature of a person's energetic state. Your inner world doesn't stay inside. It pulses, radiates, and ripples into the quantum field like signals, drawing back experiences that match your internal state. This is the true law of attraction. Not wishful thinking. Frequency matching resonance. The ancient alchemists understood this. That's why they trained their minds not just to think, but to tune, to purify the emotional field, to become masters of symbol, silence, and sensation. They practiced visualization not as escapism, but as precision engineering of inner geometry. Modern science is only now catching up. Quantum physics tells us that particles behave differently when observed. That intention collapses probability into form, that your attention influences energy. But the mystics always knew, your reality is shaped by the quality of your inner state, which is why the alchemist's first task was not to manipulate the external, but to stabilize the internal. To purify the vessel, because only a clear channel can conduct divine fire. So ask yourself, are you a container of chaos or a channel of clarity? Is your life a reflection of your truth or your trauma? You see, the difference between fate and creation lies in the shift from unconscious reactivity to conscious resonance. When you wake up, when you remember your true essence, you stop chasing life and start creating it from within. The inner alchemist doesn't beg for blessings. They become the frequency of the blessing. They don't chase love, they become love. They don't wait for purpose, they live on purpose. And this shift is not about perfection. It's about presence, about living from the inside out. But this path isn't linear, it's cyclical, spiral-like. You will forget, and you will remember again. You will fall into old identities, and then rise above them. Each time you come closer to the center of your essence. Like the Ouroboros, ancient symbol of the serpent eating its own tail, you complete cycles not to stay trapped, but to awaken to new layers of yourself. The inner alchemist is not some idealized version of you. It is you, the real you, beneath the conditioning, beneath the fear, beneath the inherited beliefs. And now that you've remembered, you have a choice. Will you return to sleep, or will you rise and begin the work? Not the work of chasing, but the sacred work of transmutation. Because once the fire is lit, it cannot be extinguished, only ignored. And something tells me, you're done ignoring it. Let's go deeper. Now that you've awakened the inner alchemist, you must understand the medium through which creation truly occurs. It's not your vision board. It's not your to-do list. It's not even your thoughts, powerful as they may seem. It is your frequency. Your essence is not something you think about, it's something you radiate. Energy has a language, and you've been speaking it long before you could form words. Long before culture gave you a name, before school taught you to conform, before society told you how to succeed. You were vibrating, resonating, emitting signals into the invisible field that cradles all existence. This field, what quantum physicists call the unified field, isn't metaphorical. It is the vast matrix of energy where all potentialities exist. Every future possibility you could live already exists there, as probability. But probability does not become reality until something collapses it into form. That something is you, but not the small you. Not the overthinking, self-doubting, fear-numbing you. The vibrational you. The frequency that emanates from your core belief about reality, self, and existence. And here's the secret. That frequency is the real language of creation. Thoughts alone do not create reality. Emotionally charged frequency does. A thought is like a signal, but a belief charged with feeling becomes a broadcast. Imagine your inner state as a song. If you're humming scarcity, fear, and unworthiness, even subconsciously, that song will play on loop in the field, attracting experiences, people, and synchronicities that harmonize with it. It's not punishment, it's precision. The universe is not listening to your words, it's dancing to your vibration. You've seen this in your life, haven't you? Times when you were desperate, clinging, trying to force something, and it slipped further away. Times when you let go, softened into trust, and things miraculously aligned. That wasn't coincidence. That was coherence. Coherence is when your energy field aligns, when heart, mind, and body sing the same frequency. In ancient Egypt, this was the principle of Ma'at, cosmic harmony. In Vedic science, it was Artiya, the natural order that arises from alignment. In modern science, HeartMath Institute calls it heart-brain coherence. In quantum mechanics, it's the collapse of the wave function. Different names, same truth. When you align your internal frequency, you become magnetic. Not just to outcomes, to truth, to experiences that reflect your true vibration, not your performance. This is why affirmations sometimes fail. If you say, "I am abundant," but deep down you feel unworthy, you're not transmitting abundance, you're transmitting conflict. The field doesn't respond to words, it responds to the signal behind them. So what is your signal? If someone could hear your energy right now, not your tone, but your frequency, what song would it be playing? Would it be peaceful, frantic, expansive, guarded? Would it sound like a plea for safety or a dance of gratitude? You can't fake this language, but you can learn to tune it. This is where inner alchemy becomes practical, because just like a musical instrument, you must tune your system daily. And that tuning begins with awareness. Awareness of your emotional state, awareness of your breath, awareness of the tension in your body when you lie, when you dim, when you perform. Every contraction is a signal. Every expansion is a return. So you begin tuning. You wake up in the morning, not to chase, but to calibrate. You sit in stillness and feel, what am I broadcasting right now? You notice the residue of yesterday's fears, or someone else's energy still clinging to your field. And you don't judge it, you transmute it. With breath, with movement, with sacred sound, with silence. You choose to tune yourself before you speak, before you create, before you act. This is the shift from reaction to resonance. You stop responding to the world and start creating from the field. And the results? They seem like magic. Opportunities emerge, coincidences multiply. People say, "I was just thinking about you." You begin to feel orchestrated, not controlled, but supported, as if the entire field is conspiring with you. Because it is. It always was. But until now, you were out of tune. You were trying to manifest with your mind while your energy played a different song. Now you understand. It's not about controlling your thoughts. It's about mastering your frequency. And frequency isn't hype. It's biology. Your heart emits an electromagnetic field thousands of times stronger than the brain. Your gut has more neurons than a cat's brain. Your body is not a machine. It's an antenna. A conductor of energy, a receiver and a transmitter. And when you become coherent, you don't just feel better. You become better. Better at sensing, better at creating, better at being. So tune, daily, ritually, lovingly, not to fix yourself, but to remember yourself. Because when you resonate with your original essence, life no longer feels like a struggle. It feels like a song. And you are the instrument. You are the composer. You are the note the universe has been waiting to hear. Now that you've felt the truth about frequency, you may be wondering, if my essence is a vibration, how do I return to it? How do I remember what has no name, no face, no past? This is the sacred turning point, the moment when philosophy becomes embodiment. When knowing is no longer enough, you must feel, not just with your emotions, but with your entire being. Because reconnecting with your original essence is not a task. It is a return. Return to what? To the you that existed before survival rewrote your nervous system, before shame covered your radiance, before you learned to fear your own power. This essence is not a personality. It is not a story. It is not even a goal. It is a frequency. And the closer you come to it, the more your life realigns, naturally, without struggle, without forcing. But to find it, you must move inward, not in escape, but in excavation. Let's be clear, this is not a mental exercise. You cannot think your way to your soul. You feel your way there. Your original essence exists beneath the mental noise, beneath the wounded protector who fears vulnerability, beneath the social masks and spiritual personas. To reconnect with it is to sit in silence, sacred, trembling silence, and allow everything false to fall away. What remains is you. Raw, unmasked, timeless. This is where the true alchemy begins. And to guide that return, you don't need more information. You need sacred practices, ones that speak in the language of frequency, not intellect. Let's explore some. 1. Sacred stillness. Do not underestimate the power of simply being still. We live in a world addicted to doing, but essence does not emerge through effort. It emerges through emptiness. Sit, breathe, listen. Not for something to happen, but for the noise to clear. In the ancient yogic tradition, this was pratyahara, the withdrawal of the senses inward. In Christian mysticism, it was called contemplative prayer. In Taoist practice, it is wu wei, effortless action. Stillness is not passive. It is the most active listening you will ever do. 2. Sound and resonance. The ancients used sound not for entertainment, but for transformation. Chanting, toning, drumming, these were not rituals of belief, but of vibration. Every syllable, every frequency was designed to unlock energetic portals within the body. Try toning a simple Om, slowly, deliberately. Not with your voice, but with your being. Feel it in your bones. Or try binaural beats and solfeggio frequencies. Use them not as background noise, but as calibration. Remember, your essence is sound before form. 3. Symbolic ritual. Rituals are not superstition. They are symbols brought to life. Whether it's lighting a candle, bathing in salt water, writing and burning an old belief, ritual acts bypass the critical mind and speak directly to the soul. Don't perform rituals. Feel them. Let each movement become sacred. Let the smoke rise as if lifting your old self. Let the fire not just burn paper, but illusion. 4. Energetic hygiene. Your frequency is shaped not only by thoughts, but by your field. Who you're around, what you consume, what you tolerate. Take inventory. Do the people in your life honor your essence or feed your mask? Does your environment soothe your nervous system or agitate your trauma? Cleanse your field daily. Smudge, move, breathe, shake, cry, laugh. Energy wants to move. Let it. 5. Inner child integration. Your original essence is closest to your inner child, not the wounded child, the wild child, the one who danced without rhythm, who questioned everything, who dreamed vividly and believed in magic. Find them, speak to them, not as a parent fixing them, but as an equal remembering with them. Ask, what did you love before the world told you it was silly? Draw it, sing it, build it, live it. 6. Soul inquiry. Ask questions that pierce the veil. Who am I when I stop performing? What do I really want? What would my life look like if I trusted myself completely? Let the answers come, not as thoughts, but as sensations. Tingles, tears, shivers. The body never lies. 7. Movement as prayer. Your essence doesn't live in your head, it lives in your body. Dance, stretch, walk without a destination. Move as if you are translating divine energy into form. In Sufi tradition, the whirling dervishes spun into trance not to escape, but to embody unity. Let your movement become meditation. Let your body become temple. And above all, listen. Essence is subtle. It won't shout, it whispers. It reveals itself in goosebumps, in still tears, in the breath that comes after release. You won't arrive at your original self, you will return to it again and again, like waves kissing the shore. Each time a little closer, each time a little clearer. And slowly, the separation between seeker and soul dissolves. You stop trying to become someone. You remember you've always been it. And in that space of remembrance, everything changes. You no longer act from wounds, you create from wholeness. You no longer chase purpose, you embody essence, and purpose flows through you like a current. And when people meet you, they won't say you're so wise or you're so successful. They'll say there's something about your energy, because what they're feeling is your original frequency, the song of your soul. No more distortion, no more disguise, only resonance, only truth, only you. You've remembered your essence, you've learned to tune your frequency, you've begun the sacred return. But this isn't the end, this is the integration. Because true alchemy isn't something you visit in meditation or touch in silence. It's something you live, daily, embodied, grounded in every breath, every step, every choice. This is where philosophy becomes form, where remembering becomes reality. You see, many awaken, but few integrate. They have moments of bliss, peaks of clarity, sacred downloads, but then they return to old patterns, old identities, old environments that seduce them back into sleep. Why? Because they didn't embody the shift. They visited their essence, but didn't build a home for it in their life. But you're different. You're ready to live as an alchemist, not as someone above the world, but as someone within it, shaping it with grace, with energy, with truth. This is what it means to be an embodied creator. It means your outer world becomes an expression of your inner alignment. It means your calendar reflects your soul, not your trauma. It means your boundaries aren't walls, but sacred gates, protecting your frequency, not your ego. It means you create not to impress, not to prove, but because creation is your natural state when you are aligned. Creation doesn't mean art or business alone. Creation means living on purpose, cooking with reverence, speaking with intention, resting as ritual, loving with presence. Every act, every moment becomes a stroke in the painting of your energetic life. This is spiritual artistry, and like all great artists, you'll be misunderstood. You will confuse those who need you to stay small. You will be called selfish when you reclaim your sovereignty. You will be called delusional when you stop participating in the fear narrative of the masses. Let them misunderstand. You're not here to be understood. You're here to be authentic, to live your frequency so clearly that others remember their own. This is the silent revolution, not in protest, but in presence, not in rebellion, but in resonance. To live as an embodied creator is to be a living transmitter of truth. You don't talk about light, you are the light. You don't seek permission, you are the authority in your life. And when challenges come, and they will, you don't collapse. You transmute. Because now you understand. Every trigger is a teacher. Every setback is a recalibration. Every no is a redirection to deeper alignment. Life stops happening to you and begins unfolding through you. This doesn't mean you become emotionless or immune to pain. It means you no longer identify with the pain. You hold it, you feel it, and you let it pass. Like a master alchemist, you extract the lesson, compost the fear, and use it to fertilize your expansion. This is mastery, and it is simple, but not easy, because it requires relentless honesty, brutal self-compassion, and a willingness to disappoint the world rather than betray your soul. So how do you begin? How do you live this? 1. Morning energy sculpting. Before you check your phone, before you engage with the world, sit, breathe. Visualize your day not as a to-do list, but as a vibration. What frequency will you carry today? What energy do you refuse to bring with you? Consciously sculpt your state. This isn't fantasy, it's energetic leadership. 2. Speak with spellcraft. Words are spells. That's why we call it spelling. What you say about yourself, others, life, it programs your field. So speak as the alchemist you are, not with toxic positivity, but with sacred precision. I'm overwhelmed becomes I'm learning to manage this expansion. I can't do this becomes I'm meeting my edges and softening into strength. This isn't denial, it's direction. 3. Anchor your environment. You can't live your essence in chaos. Clear your space. Burn the old letters. Delete the soul-numbing apps. Create altars, literal or symbolic, that anchor your intention. Your home should feel like a sanctuary, not a storage unit of your past. Let your environment echo your energy. 4. Choose soulful action. Before you act, ask, is this aligned? Am I creating from fear or from truth? Does this expand or shrink my frequency? Learn to say no to what doesn't resonate, even if it's lucrative, popular, or expected. Your energy is your most sacred currency. Spend it wisely. 5. Commune with the infinite. Don't just act, also listen. Make space for stillness daily, not as a break from life, but as life itself. Walk in nature without headphones. Gaze at the moon, right to your soul. Let the infinite speak, not in lightning, but in whispers. The more you listen, the more you remember that you are not separate. You are the frequency of the cosmos in form, the spark of source encoded in skin. And when you live from that place, not sometimes but always, you don't just manifest, you magnetize. You don't just create, you consecrate. Your life becomes a temple, your choices a prayer, your frequency a revolution. So live like it. Let every step be a spell. Let every breath be a hymn. Let every moment become a mirror where the universe recognizes itself in you. Because you are not broken, you are not behind, you are not lost, you are becoming. Or rather, you are remembering what was never lost. And as you live from this place, as an embodied alchemist, as a frequency of truth, you light the path for others, not by preaching, but by being. The most powerful transformation is silent. So go live it and watch the world rearrange around your vibration.